Hello, I'm Ruby Redheart, and for this week's video, we're going to be building a graveyard. I've wanted to build one for a while now, but I figured that now would be the perfect time to build one with The Sims 4 coming out with a bunch of death-related packs and Grim Reaper related packs, and also the Grim Reaper challenge that is currently going on. And the reason why it's taken me so long to build a graveyard is because typically what I do whenever I have a save file, whenever I'm not really sure how long I'm going to be playing in it, I just put graves on one of my Sims lots that I'm playing with currently, and then eventually I just keep them in inventory and things like that. But I would like to actually have a dedicated spot for all of my graves to go, and I figured that this would be the perfect time to make that. And I wanted this to be able to become almost any community lot with very small changes at most. So you'll see that this has most of the things that you need for most community lot types. There are definitely some that you'd have to change a lot of things to make it work, but for the most part, you can make this lot work for most community lots. I'm going to be using this as a haunted house residential for a vampire sim, because I thought that we'd go through the challenge with her eventually. So next week you'll see me making the cast of her, and if you really want to see a sneak peek, then you can go to my EA account, my gallery. Ruby Redheart is what it would be under, and you can download this slot if you want to. You don't have to. And also, probably tomorrow or the next day, I will have the vampire sim up on the gallery by herself. So you can also download her. And here I was going to see if I could get any just graves so that I could test how I wanted the spacing for this lot to be. But then I remembered that there was this graveyard thing from Spooky Stuff that I could use to figure out spacing. I figured out that I want about 2 rows so that you can put a grave back to back at the rows, so it's a little bit easier that way. You can also fit more graves that way, and I thought that that would be nice. I also have walkways so that you can get to either side of the graves. Yeah, and then I decided that I wanted the entrance to be kind of grand and fun because, you know, it's just fun to have like a little gate, like as if this really could close. I do know that that gate is technically not big enough for it to actually close, but we can pretend like it will actually close all the way if you were to close both sides. I wanted it to look like it was just opening up for the day or about to close at night, and it gave a lot of visual interest to the entrance, in my opinion. And I wanted this to still look nice even though that it's a graveyard, because, well, even though that graveyards aren't exactly the happiest place on earth, I thought that would be nice so that your Sims could come here to visit their loved ones in a nice, calm, relaxing place. And I intentionally made this look, in my opinion, like a church, because I wanted this to look like maybe a converted church, or maybe it's an active church and you're safe, because I thought that this would look nicer and make more sense because you can have the funeral here. and then immediately go put the graves where you want them to be. I know that you really can't have funerals in The Sims 4, but I think that that's a nice gameplay aspect that you could at least pretend to do. Which with The Sims, there's a lot of pretending that you have to do for things like that. But I tried to get the spacing on these rows as even as possible, but I will go ahead and tell you that they're not even because I realized that I did not put the house in the center of all the rows, so it's not going to be centered no matter what. And I do eventually add on a little bit to the house / graveyard / church, whatever you want to call it, which does actually mean that that problem's a little bit worse later, but I do think that it was worth the addition that I added to it. And I wanted to make sure that all the rows, the Sims wouldn't walk through like the grass, so I put these little fences on either side of the grass because I didn't want them to try and walk through the grass to get to the graves. I wanted them to walk on the paths. And Sims are a little bit dumb, so if you don't put some sort of barrier there, they're not going to do that. But I still wanted your Sims to be able to access the graves so that they could like mourn the loved one that they lost. So I didn't fully enclose the grass. I just enclosed like 2 sides of it, which still means that there's a good chance that Sim will just walk right through the grass, but you know, you win some, you lose some, as far as that goes. And I decided that I wanted this graveyard to be a lot more bright than people typically make graveyards out to be, just because I wanted this place to be a nice place to visit. I didn't want it to be necessarily spooky. I mean, of course, this is also a haunted house lot on the gallery because, well, I just felt like it would be fun for my vampire sim, but you don't have to keep it as a haunted house, and you don't necessarily have to have a vampire sim live here. You will have to change a little bit of the living situation upstairs if you want to actually keep a sim on this slot and not have like a vampire, because I do give the coffin instead of a bed, because I felt like it would make sense. Like maybe it's a showroom is what they'd say if a sim member came into their bedroom, because that's the showroom. They're showing off the casket that they sell. Don't worry about where they sleep. Totally not the casket. You know what I mean? And then here I was figuring out the spacing for all of the rooms. I knew that I wanted a wedding venue, a funeral room, and then someplace to eat. I also didn't want Sims going upstairs to where the residential stuff is at, so I made the staircase into its own room. And whenever you go into game, just lock that door so that Sims can't go upstairs unless they're like invited or whatever, if you don't want anyone other than like your sim or Sims that you've invited to be able to go up there, and that should fix any issues with that. So I decided to look through all of the wedding marches, and I decided that I liked the round one the best. And sorry about that, my soundboard just turned off because I forgot to turn it off earlier. And I was going to make this look like this was a regular church during like the day, and then whenever there's a wedding you'd move the podium. But I decided that that would be kind of an annoying gameplay feature, so you'll see me delete it in a second. I was thinking about keeping it and figuring out the spacing of it, so you'll see it for a second longer, yeah. And I was like, yeah, no, that's going to get too annoying. So I was like, what kind of tile do I want? And then I was like, I do like this checkerboard, so maybe I'll go checkerboard and then something to stand out for the actual area for the wedding arch. So I went ahead and I put black there. I will be changing that later. And I knew that I wanted these curtains. I just didn't know what color I wanted yet. So I just kind of moved them around and got them situated until I was happy with them. And then I went through and I was like, oh, I really like that blue. I want to see what I can do with it. And then I found out that basically every single item that I had picked had this very similar blue color, except for the arch had a lighter blue color, but I thought that it clashed too much. So I went with white flowers and the tan wood instead of the white wood that I originally had. I do think that the white wood would have still looked nice, but I decided that I thought that that would look better. And then I accidentally accidentally left the lot and had to go back in when I was trying to save because I was very tired. I was doing this after I had already done classes for the day and I was just tired. But I found these off of the gallery. I don't remember the name of the creator that I got those from, but I do use those paintings multiple times. Let me see if I can go back and see the name of them so that I can shout out that person, because I really do like those paintings and I'm so glad that they did them. Okay, and the name is RJKELSAL. So RJKELSAL. I don't know how you would say that, but that is their name on there. And now let me see, where am I at? It would be like here-ish. Okay, and I realized after I had kind of picked out what kind of wallpaper I wanted and everything that I had not finished up all of the yard stuff that I wanted to do, so I just went ahead and did that. And you will notice that I forgot to make one of those go all the way to the very end. Don't worry, I do fix that, just I didn't show that because I didn't realize that it was messed up until I posted it to the gallery, and then I was like, well, that's a little bit annoying. And you'll see me go through all these different lot tops to see like what I would need to actually make them work for these lot tops. Now, I will say not all of them do I get enough to actually make it be workable for the lot tops, but most of them I do. So you'll see me go through and kind of picking out items to make that work. And I added the microphone and the guitar and stuff to the wedding venue because I was like, well, typically you're going to have music. Sometimes it's loud music, sometimes that's speakers, so I gave both options, as well as I thought that, I know that in The Sims they don't really make speeches. There is like the debate stuff that you can do, and there are some other actions that you can do like comedy, but I thought that that would still look nice there. And I really wanted an easel into the wedding venue because I was like thinking about how all these people are getting like paintings of their big day, and I thought that that would be great in The Sims because you can just do paint by reference during like the wedding ceremony, and then you can have a picture of them getting married, which I think would be so cool. I haven't done it before, but I was like, I need to do that. And don't worry, I do leave the chest set, but I put it in a different spot and I get another one somewhere else. And I wanted to add the signs not only because they act as a statue, which is why I put them, but also because it would make it work a little bit better. And then I wanted some more decorations on the like wedding arch thing. So I did a bunch of vases there. It also gave more sculptures and things, so it worked twofold. And I was trying to figure out what kind of color scheme I wanted, and I was like, you know what, I'll just keep on going with the blue and the black and white because that's what I did in the other room, and I really do like how that turned out. It's a little bit much. It's very much maximalist in style, but that's okay because I like a lot of things. I am a maximalist, I think. So I decided to split that one big room. I was originally thinking that I was going to do 2 bathrooms downstairs, but I decided that instead of doing 2 bathrooms, I'd do 1 bathroom and then a room where you can make all of, like, a mini kitchen. I know that the Vampire Sim will never really use any of it except for the refrigerator, but I thought that that would be a nice touch if this were to be any other lot type, because you can make your wedding cake there, you can make other foods there, as well as the table and the room for all the food. That's the buffet table. You can essentially put so much food on that and stuff, so I put that there because it would be easier if you wanted to do like a quick wedding venue or just a place to get some more food. And I also gave the fountain for drinks and things. Yeah, so that's why I did that. And I really do like what I did with this stuff. I don't know why I went with the, like, it's not checkerboard, but it's like the diamond patterned flooring, but it's very cute in my opinion. And then I wanted to do kind of like an older oven and then like a black refrigerator to kind of match it but still look newer, because that, in my opinion, that oven would probably still be in good condition since it probably wouldn't be used much where a vampire's living here, and then the refrigerator probably wouldn't have lasted that long considering that it would have been used for a very long time for like blood packs and stuff. And now we're moving on to the funeral room. I put an urn on the table as like a placeholder if you wanted to hold like a funeral room, or like not a funeral room, a funeral. I would just stick your urn on the table, and then I don't know, you could have your Sims be sad, make speeches, whatever, because you'll see that I will be adding the microphone in this room as well, so you could like pretend with that. But it also, I think, is just a cool room, even if, let's say, you never use it. And then I also wanted more paintings for in here, so I found this Scrim painting by Spirit something. Hold on, let me go back and I'll pause it so that I can tell you the name, because I forgot to write down the names. I should have done that, but after losing power and winding up a little bit behind because of it. You know, I kind of forgot. But I do really like how all these rooms turn out. You'll see that I will go back to all of these rooms and kind of mess with them a little bit more because while I really do like how they were kind of coming out, I thought that I could do much better. The person that did this painting, and I do use this Grimm painting another time, is Spirit the Rot. SPRITETHERIGHT. And that's on the Sims Gallery. If you would like to actually download it, I would recommend downloading it because it is something that I find is kind of hard to find, and I do like how it turned out. And for the funeral room, I decided instead of going bright colors, people would be sad and stuff, so I did actually go with black in there. And I kept the blue carpet because I don't know why, but any time that there's been a funeral that I've had, they've had like carpeted floor and stuff, so that's why I went with that. And for this bathroom, I wanted it to look more interesting, but I didn't know what kinds of paintings I could use for both funerals and weddings, so I decided to do 3 mirrors to like have a little bit of fun, and I made sure that it was gold to match the rest of the build down there in the bathroom. And you'll see me, I'm blocking out a lot of stuff to figure it out, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to have a vampire sim here. I better actually have a ceiling for this. And I don't know if I showed messing with possibly putting a roof on there, but I didn't like it. I guess I didn't. And then I was like, should I make this go up one more? And I didn't like that either, so I just left it flat on top and then just added the stone that I've been using everywhere. Because I thought that it would make a lot of sense, since I'm assuming this building is a very old building and that's what this is actually made out of, and then they've just over time changed everything around. And I was getting a little bit annoyed trying to get everything to work the way that I wanted it to, and because whenever I did a mistake, it would accidentally show the roof because of how I deleted it, so I had to just delete every single tile of the walls to get rid of that. And here I am trying to figure out the spacing for the bathroom. I wanted 2 showers, and so here I am doing that, and I was like, how about that? And then I put an arch in there. This will change later on. I do actually change where those showers are into a hallway eventually, because my brother came in here after I was almost done with the build, and I asked for his help, like, to figure out if there was anything that I needed to change, and he thought that was so horrendous because I almost had the perfect build, so he convinced me to change it. I have to say, I do like it. I don't know that it was necessary to change it, but I do like it. It doesn't bother me either way. I will have to mention this. I did not playtest this build. Whenever I make my vampire sim and bring her into this slot, that will be the first time that I will be playtesting this build, because it took me 4 hours to make this build, and by the time that I was done, it was like, actually, it was a little bit more than 4 hours, but it took me until 1 a.m. I started at like 8 o'clock, 8:30. And then once I was almost done with it, it was 1 a.m. And then the next day, I put in about another hour of work, trying to get everything just right, because I still needed to go through and then move some things around, add some more decorations, because you'll notice that through this build, generally speaking, I put down the furniture, but I did not put like decorations really at this point. And a lot of that is just that I didn't know what to put. So it took me a lot of time to figure that out. I did know that I wanted to have some plants outside, because you can make blood packets in The Sims 4 for Vampire Sims with the plasma fruit tree. So I was thinking that the Vampire Sim would have that, as well as during the Grimm challenge, I know that you're going to have to plant some things, and also having a roof over where you're planting is a good idea, because if you have seasons, if you don't have a roof over the fruit or plants that you're growing, then you will have an issue where it will just be out of season or not growing, and that's very annoying to deal with. And then I went back to looking at these things and realized I needed more tables. So I went ahead and I added these tables under the signs, and I actually really like how that made them look, because it gave it more of a unique look. I will actually be adding lettering to the signs later on in the build, almost when I'm done. And I was trying to figure out what things I wanted to do for this lot, if I wanted any lot challenges or anything. But I decided that I wanted to do the Peace and Quiet, the Natural Light, and then the Vampire layer. And the reason why I picked those, the Peace and Quiet, I wanted this place to be kind of peaceful and things like that. And also, I want the Sim to be a reader, so that will help them gain skills in reading faster. And I also wanted the Natural Light because I wanted this Sim to also be an artist. So, considering that, I thought that those two were no-brainers. And then when I knew that this was a Vampire Sim, it is actually nice to have those things come in the mail for your Vampire Sim occasionally, because it's just annoying having to constantly buy blood packs or go drink from Sims. But it's also fun. I really like playing with vampires. It's just sometimes it's a little bit annoying because you want to do this one thing, but then your vampire is hungry and you're just like, again. But then again, vampires don't actually eat as much as normal Sims. Or maybe they do, and I just am deluding myself. But after looking around, my brother, this is when he came in here to kind of help me figure out more things that I needed, because it was close, but it still needed something. So me and my brother were in here brainstorming, trying to figure out what we wanted in here. I actually wanted benches in here originally, but they wouldn't fit, and then I didn't like how tiny this hallway was, and it made it look weird. So my brother actually came up with the idea of expanding it outwards, which you'll see right here. And this is where it was kind of annoying, like not really nitpicky, but trying to just get everything to work how we wanted it at this point, because I liked it, but it still wasn't perfect. So that's when we started working towards getting this. And I have to thank him for all this, and I thanked him yesterday, but he really did help me. and you'll see that we had like this one weird tile and stuff. So, and we had to get rid of some of those like places where you'd walk because it didn't make sense anymore to have that there. And that weird space, I will be adding stuff to that later. You'll have to wait to see what I do for like the grass and stuff. But we decided to, I actually made the final decision on getting rid of that wall instead of just having an arch into it and having like a broom closet or something. And then that gave another entrance into that room. And once we kind of moved everything around and got everything like more situated, we could actually add the photos that I originally had back, the photo frames I originally had back. But I think that it turned out nicer this way. And then we had to kind of look for benches that were okay. And there were a lot of options, but really, I wanted to stick with the blue because it would match a lot better with what I had elsewhere, like the wedding venue and other places. Now, I will once again mention this, just in case you have forgotten. I did not test to see if your sim could walk through all this. This is just from me and my brother's experience. The sim should be able to walk through all these things and use all of these things except for maybe the microphone. The microphone, theoretically, they should be able to use it, but who knows? Because it's through a podium. So, we'll have to see on that one. And I was going to do those like that. I thought about adding like a big photo frame so that you could see like the loved one, kind of like, you know how people have those like flower stands with like a photo in the middle of the family member that has been lost. I was thinking kind of like that, but it didn't look right. And then after we kind of got everything placed where we wanted it, we had to keep on like moving everything slightly and then do that back and forth over and over again until we were happy with how it looked. I will say at this point my brother was a little bit annoyed because he was like, "You're trying to ruin it," because I was doing like odd things like sizing up picture frames and thinking about putting them on a wall, which I don't think it would have ruined it, in my opinion. But also, I agree it was kind of tacky. But also, this whole build's a little tacky, so. And I love that. Who cares if it's a little tacky? And I will tell you that a lot of these things are just roughly placed. I do come back and I finally tune where I want all these placed at. And my brother was like, "Why is this room so big?" But also then if you make it smaller, then you don't have enough room. And I was just like, because I like it. That's it. And then he was like, "Well, put those on the wall." I was like, "No, because now that looks weird with all those mirrors." And then he's like, "Well, it looks weird anyway." And then I was like, "But wouldn't happy art look weirder because of the funeral aesthetic?" And then looking around, and he was showing me things that he could really like, that he would like, because at this point I had actually been building on this for hours and without a break. So of course I was kind of a little bit tired and a little bit, not smart in decision making. And then we really liked how this looked before we placed it, and then we were like, if we raise it up, maybe that will let the marble show through. But then it looks weird from the side. So we just left it with like that little ring around it because it still added a little bit of something else. And then then we kind of just looked around and saw what we really did or did not like. And then this is when he said that I was ruining it and that this was horrible because I did that the way I did. But I don't think that was horrible. It just wasn't the best planning. But then again, now that I think about it, if I had left it that way, it would make more sense as an older home, because older homes made very, very weird decisions because of when plumbing was invented. So, probably should have done that, but I didn't. I do actually change it, and you'll have to tell me in the comments which version you like better for this bathroom, because I like both versions, to be honest. And here we were kind of like fiddling with it to make it look better and work better. And theoretically, your sim should be able to navigate every single thing in this bathroom. Theoretically. Even after all the changes that were made. But, again, that is only theoretically, because I have not tested it yet. And honestly, if you don't like the double shower or you just want to get rid of the jacuzzi tub, you could rearrange this whole bathroom and make it work perfectly. All that you'd have to do is just change a few things, and that's not that big of an issue in my opinion. But I do go through and I do change some things and then add more details. You'll see that in like a few seconds. But before we get to that, I would like to say, if you have not liked this video and you're still here, please like it. And if you dislike something in this video, please tell me in the comments. I also would like to know about your day. I do read the comments. I don't always reply to things. Like, if I see you say, like, random people's names in the comments, I'm not going to reply to it because, to be honest, I don't know what to say to comments like that, because I don't know if you're trying to at someone or, like, mentioning them to get them to like, see the video, or if you're, like, trying to say something that I don't understand. So, you know, I do read them. I may or may not reply to them. But I still love reading them. So, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Oh, and by the way, the reason why I added a mirror to a room where a vampire lives and cannot use mirrors is because they can still use that makeup table. It's just that they will not be able to see their reflection in it, but you can still use it like a regular makeup table. So that's why I did that. And here's when I add the other Grimm photo, or painting, I guess. And I start like nitpicking where the seats are placed, because I wanted them to be as, I didn't want them to be as on like the rug aisle that I had made, and the flower path that I made. So I scooted them into the wall further. The ones near the curtains did not get scooted as far as the ones not near the curtains, because there's only so much clipping into the chair that I can handle. for the curtains. And then I used those photos again. I was debating on if I wanted one really big I love you of those, or if I wanted like little ones, but I decided that I liked the little version of these, and then I would just put the photos of like the couple in between, so that you could have it cycle through some photos of the two Sims that are getting married. And I wanted decoration, so you'll see me do things like right here I'm going to add paintings and mirrors and things, but I did not want anything to be too like happy, because I mean, this is also a funeral home, so we don't want people to be sad. I mean, not sad, but I don't want people to be like, oh, this is so happy the entire time, because that would be a little bit weird. I want it to be kind of a neutral space, and I put that TV above like the snack bar because I was imagining that you could like put photos or like cycling through it, videos of things, whether that's of a loved one that's passed away, of the couple that's getting married, and I just wanted this to be able to be used by both the funerals and the weddings. I'm assuming that you don't want a funeral and a wedding happening at the same time though. So just if you were to use this lot, be careful about, weddings and funerals happening at the same time, because I don't really know that it would be a fun time to have like a wedding and funeral same time. But I wanted these little pillows to make the bench more comfortable and also to look nicer, because these benches, while they're cute, they're never comfortable. They're just never. I mean, they're fine for a few minutes, but the longer that you sit on them, the less comfortable they get. So, and then I wanted rugs, knowing that there was going to be carpet so that you could wipe your feet off before you enter, because I wanted to imitate like these churches and funeral homes that have carpet, I did not want your feet to be so nasty on the carpet, because imagine all of the mud that would be on it. I know that in The Sims it's fine because nothing's ideal in The Sims, but I mean, I guess everything's ideal in The Sims because technically most of it is preventable if there's anything bad that can happen anyway. And I thought about adding these outdoor bathrooms here because they would make sense, but I didn't like how big they were and how they were clipping. And then I also wanted the fountain to have more windows behind it, so I just added curtains into the funeral part. And then I came back and added curtain rods to make everything kind of like tie together. And I just keep on going through adding more stuff, and I wanted like these plates. I had been looking for these plates earlier, but I couldn't remember where they came from. So I had to move on earlier and move things around. And I had so much trouble finding it. But I included tissues and like hand sanitizer. I know that that's soap in the game, but I want you to know that I'm pretending that that's hand sanitizer, because regardless of whether this is for a happy or sad reason that you're here, whether it be a funeral or a wedding, there's going to be people that are going to cry regardless. And I also thought that that would be a good way to have extra napkins. Like if you were to ever run out, then you could at least use a tissue to like wipe your face, hands, whatever. And hand sanitizer, because I know people are so nasty. They will not wash their hands. So at least get rid of the germs clean your hands somehow. Even if it's not the cleanest, it's better than nothing. So I rearranged the kitchen and gave an extra counter to make it a better kitchenette, more usable. And I added the same sign that I had in the kitchen to the outside. And I was trying to see if I could make this have the little fire part, but not anything else. But that didn't really work, so I just switched the sign to something else that I thought would fit the kitchen more. And then I decided to go with blue because we've done blue everywhere else, and the black really wasn't popping on the walls for whatever reason. It looked great on the white sign, but I don't know if it was just the wallpaper that I had that was the issue or what. Sorry. But it looked very gray, almost white, even though the swatch was supposed to be black. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to give her a little fun calendar. Figured that calendar was a little fun addition. And then I was thinking about making the sink smaller and just moving it to the wall, but I decided against it. After all, even though that I know that the Sims could use it, it just looked too weird. So if your Sims cannot go into that room, I would just suggest completely opening that room up and not worrying about the aesthetic of it, because that would be all that you would need, I think, to make it work. And then I went through and fixed some small things, and I added coffins because I thought that would be odd if there weren't coffins other places, as well as where this is also for funerals. Maybe they're about to be buried. And now, I hope you have fun watching all the screenshots. Thank you for watching the video. If you would like to watch other videos of mine, one of the videos is what YouTube thinks that you'll like, and then the other one is my most recent video. Thank you for watching. See you later.